Hi guys, today we will start the demand, that is the continuation of the second unit. After the consumer equilibrium we have a next part, that is a demand. Then demand and supply are the two main factors to define the market price of the commodity. Then first we will try to go with the demand. Then demand, it is defined it is defined as the quantity of a commodity that a consumer is willing and able to purchase in the market in a given period of time and at different prices. For example, a consumer demands 5 kg of sugar in a month at a price of rupees 40 per kg. Demand is also referred to as effective desire. Overall, we can say one good relationship between price and quantity will be termed with the help of one of the particular terminology, that is calling the demand. Now here quantity demanded. Quantity demanded means on a particular at a particular time period, uh, how much product you try to purchase from the market by which price, that is calling the quantity demanded. Now the main features of the demand. The first one is demand depends upon utility of the commodity. Means as a person or as a consumer you are rational, and then your desire or demand depend on the utility. If you have not consumption, then you will not try to purchase the product from the market. Then you will go with the next feature of the demand, that is related to like that demand always means effective demand. Means how we can say the demand is a effective demand. If you as a consumer wants to purchase certain product, then you have a willingness, you have the purchasing power. And how you can define it, you have the money to spend on your desire. Then demand always means effective demand. Then demand is a flow concept. How we can speak that is the flow concept, because so much per unit of time will be there. We can speak like on 10 rupees we have a demand of the two products, on 20 rupees we have a demand of the three products, on 5 rupees we have a demand of the one product. Then we can speak per unit of a time is here, and time is defining to us कि demand is having a flow concept. Then next one is there, demand means demand for final consumer goods. It's not like that कि you will try to purchase the raw material, you will try to purchase the final consumer products, and then it will be related to the demand. And even we can speak demand is a desired quantity. It shows consumers wish or need to buy the commodity. Now the turn is there to discuss the demand function. Then demand function is a functional relationship between demand for a commodity and its various determinants. Here you will see one equation is there. In a relation basis, one equation is drafted here, and then this equation will be called the demand function. Means overall, demand is having the relation with various components, and we can speak this relation in a equation form will be try to show us that is a demand function. Now in that equation, dx is equal to functional relationship with price of x, price of z, y, t, e, n, yd, etc. Now here what they denote, dx means demand for commodity x, x means any of the product, px first we can speak that is the price of commodity because that is willingness, pz price of related goods, related goods means substitute goods or complementary goods. I will tell you afterwards substitute goods and complementary goods. Then y is income of the consumer. Then t is taste and preferences of consumer, means consumer try to purchase it, try to like it. E is future expectation. N means number of consumers. YD means distribution of income. Now one by one we will try to discuss of the factors which affect the demand for a good. Demand is even here divided into the two parts. One is the individual demand and another one is a market demand. Individual demand of an consumer is termed as indivisible demand. For example, demand of Sharma household for milk priced at rupees 45 per liter is 45 liters per month. But when more than one consumer in a market, then we can speak that is a market demand. It means the total quantity of a commodity that all its buyers are willing to purchase at different prices over a given period of time. That one is calling the market demand. For example, demand of all the households for milk price at rupees 45 per liter is 20,000 liters per month. Then it will be called a market demand. Then various factors are there which will be affect the individual demand for a good. The factors are like here price of the commodity. If we will go with the price of the commodity, then price and demand for the commodity is having an inverse relationship, because you know the nature of the consumer. When prices of the commodity is going down, they try to purchase the more product, and when prices of the commodity is going to the up, they try to purchase the less product. Then price of the other goods also affected the products. Price of the other goods in a market, like two types of other goods should be there. One is calling the substitute goods and another one is calling the complementary goods. Then we will try to go with the substitute goods. Substitute goods are those goods which are an alternative to one another in consumption. They satisfy same human want with equal ease. I will tell you, if in a market tea is not available, then you are ready to purchase the coffee. If wheat is not available, then you are ready to go with the rice. If ink pen is not available, you try to go with the ball pen. Even if Maruti car is not available, you will go with the different company's car. If Pepsi is not available, then you will go with the Coca-Cola. If Lifebuoy is not available, you will go with the Lux. These are the substitute relations. Means instead of one product, we try to consume the another product and try to satisfy our same desire, and then this type of a product is called the substitute good. Then demand for a good usually moves in the same direction to a change in price of its substitutes. In same direction we should be go. If price will be changed in the same direction, we should be go with the we should be go into the same direction only. Now the next is when the goods are complementary. Now complementary is what? First you try to understand what is the complementary. Complementary goods are those which are jointly used or consumed together to satisfy a want. For example, tea and sugar, car and petrol, pen and ink, bread and butter, cigarettes and cigarette lighter, compact disc player and compact disc, etc. I think you get it. Complementary goods are those goods which try to complement to each other, means their consumptions are depend on each other. Suppose you have a car but petrol is not, then how you can? Suppose you have a pen but ink is not, then how you can? Suppose you have a bread but butter is not, then how you can? Then we can speak these goods combinations are called the complementary goods. And now if we will try to see the complementary goods effect on the individual demand, then we should be define it. Demand for a good moves in the opposite directions to a change in price of its complementary goods. Opposite directions. When prices of the petrol is high, then consumption or utility of the car is going down. Now next one is the income of the consumer. Income of the consumer, you know better. Changes in money of the consumer changes the budget constant facing the consumer, causing him to change his demand for goods. It is called the income demand. Normally what we can say, when income will be increased, we try to purchase more. When income is decreased, we try to purchase less. Here one relation is there. Dx is equal to f multiplied with the y. Then f is a functional relationship, dx is a demand for the goods x, and y is the income. But here one term is there, ceteris paribus, means other factors keeping constant, only income should be run. Then now if we will try to discuss the income of the consumer, then simply we can speak changes in money of the consumer, changes the budget constant facing the consumer, causing him to change his demand for goods, and that is calling the income demand. Normally, what we can tell here, two types of the goods will be there again, that is calling the normal good and inferior good. Normal goods are those goods whose demand rises when income rises, then it will be called the normal goods. Like when our income will be rise, then we try to purchase the more clothes, we try to purchase the more books, we try to purchase the more comfort, luxury, or even the needable products. But inferior goods, goods whose demand falls when income rises, are called inferior goods, like coarse grain, like bajra, or coarse cereals, we can speak like this. That is the inferior good. Then the relation between the quantity demand of good X and income of consumer is shown in the figure. You will see it in a normal goods. When income will be rise, then demand will be increased, but in an inferior goods, when income will be rise, then demand will be decreased. The next one is the consumer taste and preference. That is very normal. If you like some products, then your demand will be increased. If you dislike some product, then your demand will be decreased. Then one more is there, future expectations of buyer. When you know better, that is your demand. And suppose like the price of the petrol will be rise from tomorrow evening, then your demand is increased today. But your expectation is that from tomorrow evening prices of the petrol is going down, then your demand should be shift today to D1. That is related to the future expectations of the buyer. Then these are the factors. Then today what we try to discuss totally, from starting we started the definition of the demand, and then QD, quantity demand. Then we understand through the help of the one of the example. Then the features of the demand we try to discuss. Then after the demand function, then I will tell you about the individual demand and market demand. Then after the factors which were affect the individual demand for a goods, under it the price of a commodity, then price of other goods, then ceteris paribus I told you, then substitute goods definition I had given to you, then complementary goods definition I had given to you, then the income of the consumer and their effect I told you, then the consumer taste and preferences I told you, then after the future expectation of buyers I told you. Then it is sufficient for you. Okay, have a good day guys.